I never thought a single careless moment, one meant to pull out a laugh, could dismantle everything I believed was steady in my life. Even now, whenever my mind drifts back to that evening, I can pinpoint the exact second the atmosphere shifted. The precise instant when what I intended as harmless humor crossed a boundary I didn't realize existed. People say weddings reveal truths. I always assumed that was sentimental nonsense, until the night I made a joke about Rowan in front of a room full of witnesses and watched him slide off his ring as though it held the weight of every year we'd built together. The unraveling began long before anyone noticed. Hours before the damage truly manifested, the evening looked perfect. The reception hall glowed under warm lights, music drifted softly through the air, and guests floated in that soft haze of celebration weddings always create. I stood among distant relatives with a drink in my hand, smiling, nodding, laughing at stories that weren't remotely funny but felt so under the enchantment of the moment. Rowan moved through the crowd in that quiet, grounded way he always had, steady presence, calm warmth, never demanding space, never trying to dominate attention. He was, in every way, the last person deserving of ridicule. Andrew, his lifelong friend and best man, had spent the night rounding up groups, offering toasts, poking fun at Rowan, stirring up the usual lighthearted teasing. Somewhere between the raised glasses and shared memories, he nudged me toward the microphone. "Come on, say something," he urged with a grin. I hadn't planned on speaking. Public moments always unsettle me, and weddings tug at emotions I've never handled gracefully. But I agreed anyway. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was the charm of the night. Maybe it was something reckless inside me wanting to match the energy. I held the microphone, feeling dozens of eyes turn toward me. Someone lowered the volume of the music. Conversations hushed. My pulse thudded in my throat. I promised myself I would keep it heartfelt. A small anecdote, a warm line, nothing that could ever sting. But then I saw Andrew elbowing Rowan. Saw people laughing at some memory I wasn't part of. And suddenly I felt pressure to be memorable, to deliver something bold, something funny. So I opened my mouth before my better judgment could catch up. I said one sentence, one thoughtless, cutting remark about Rowan's size. I still cannot explain why. The room erupted with laughter. Real, unfiltered, loud. For a heartbeat, I felt triumphant, like I had added to the moment. But Rowan didn't laugh. He smiled, yes, but it was the kind of smile that stays glued to the surface and never reaches the eyes. A controlled expression, tight around the edges, the kind someone wears when they're trying to hold themselves together in public. My stomach dropped instantly, but the words were already loose, already echoing, already impossible to take back. Someone added another joke. Someone else clapped my shoulder. People drifted back to their dancing, their drinks, their conversations. But Rowan didn't come near me, not once. Each time I tried to move toward him, someone intercepted me with another laugh, another mention of that line, like I had delivered the highlight of the night. And with every second, I felt something slipping out of my hands. When the music melted into a slow song and couples began to sway, I finally slipped outside to look for him. I found him near the garden path, jacket off, tie loosened, staring at the ground like it held every answer he needed. When he lifted his head, the warmth I'd always known in his eyes was missing. Not replaced with anger, just emptied out. He asked if I understood what I had done. His voice wasn't loud. It wasn't sharp. It was calm, too calm, and that hurt more than anything. I tried to explain it was a joke, that the moment swept me up, that I hadn't meant to wound him. He nodded, but it was the kind of nod you give when you're no longer listening. He asked why the one person he trusted most chose to turn him into a punchline. Why, when I had the spotlight, I opted to humiliate instead of uplift. Why I valued applause over his dignity. I offered apologies that dissolved the moment they left my mouth. Then he touched his ring. I thought he was adjusting it. I thought he was anxious. I thought anything except what came next. He slid it off and held it between his fingers. Time narrowed. Even the music from the hall seemed to suspend. He told me he needed space, that he couldn't pretend nothing had happened, that something in how he saw me had shifted, maybe not forever but undeniably now, and possibly for longer than I wanted to believe. He placed the ring gently in my palm, so gently that the kindness of it hurt more than anger would have. Then he walked back inside, not toward me, not to talk, but to leave. He didn't cause a scene. He didn't raise his voice. He simply left before midnight. Quiet, composed, broken in a way I had caused. Andrew found me wandering the corridor searching for him. He said Rowan had already called a car, that he didn't want anything else to escalate. The celebration kept spinning without me. Music, laughter, champagne. But I sat alone at a table, hollow, listening to life continue as if I hadn't just destroyed something sacred. When the final guests drifted out, I headed home, Rowan's ring clutched in my hand, replaying every second of that night, every choice, Every failure to protect the person who had always protected me. He still hasn't spoken to me. People assume we're just giving each other time. They don't understand that sometimes the deepest wounds come from moments without malice. Moments where thoughtlessness slices deeper than intentional harm ever could. And all it took to fracture something I believed was unbreakable was one sentence, one joke, one ring laid quietly in my palm.